She moved when she was 8 years old. When she was 8 years old, I was on the radio in Reading as a morning show co-host. Scott, Nick, and Wendy. That was the name of our show. Rock Hits, Y102. Station is still on the air. In fact, I think Scott is still the morning host. I don't have good memories of my time in Reading. I did not keep in touch with any of them. They made my life a living hell. But that's another story for another time. So I've always kind of jokingly said, she has to know who I am because it was the only radio station in town. That's not true, though. There was a country station, and she did come up the ranks in country music. So maybe she was listening to the country station. She was probably listening to the country station. But I was telling this story to a girl I worked with at my last radio station, and she said, well, was there a billboard or something up? With your face on it? I said, you know what? As a matter of fact, there was. The only time in my life my face was on a billboard was when I was in Reading. She goes, then she probably did see your billboard. I was like, oh my God, you're right. She had to have seen my billboard at the very least, right? So I can't wait to meet her and to remind her of who I am. And we're going to be like, yeah, I lived right across from the Outlet Mall in West Reading. Woo, woo. So, it'll be a good time. I can't wait to reminisce and bring back the Reading and West Reading memories. But aside from that, one of the reasons that I love my girl Tay-Tay is because she's so, to me, and I know not everybody agrees, authentic. I feel like, especially through her music, she lives her life in front of the public, which she is ostracized for all the time. But she is always herself. She does what she does, and she makes no apologies for it. She has often said, if a man were writing the same songs that I were writing, you would call him sensitive and romantic. But since I'm a woman, you're saying that I'm bitter and, all of these not so complimentary names. And I'm very glad that she started out her show last night with the song The Man. If you haven't listened to that song, you have to. It's so good. It's talking about the fact that if she were a man, then she'd be the man. Very, very, gets into the head of how women are still treated quite a bit differently than men are. One of the other reasons I love Taylor is, she's never had any really bad press when it comes to, say, drugs. I don't know if she's ever done drugs. She talks about getting drunk in some of her songs, so I'm guessing she drinks, and that's okay. I've never heard drugs mixed up with her. Doesn't mean it hasn't happened. But I just think that she's a great role model. She's also somebody who has just gone after what she wanted with no apologies. And she started out in this business as primarily a songwriter. And I think I've told you this story before. When she got to Nashville, she started writing songs. And I think somebody was just like, you're young. You can probably train your voice. If you sang the songs that you wrote, you will probably make so much more money. Well, I don't know who that guy was, but he was a genius because look at her now. And I have to say, as much as I hate to say it, because you know how much I love her, still not that great live. Not that great. I don't know. But that's beside the point. One of the things she talked about in her speech after her performance was the fans and how she owes everything to the fans. So she's always humble, but yet takes ownership of her stuff. I wanted to say the other word. I try not to curse. But yeah, she owns it. She's like, yeah, this is me. But I get to be me because of you. So I love that about her, how she's always grateful to her fans. And her mom and dad were in the audience, and they were just tearing up all over the place. And I can't imagine could you imagine your kid being Taylor Swift? Can you imagine that? Your kid is Taylor Swift. That's my kid. I made that. I created that. I raised that. Wow, that's crazy to me. So, so happy for Taylor and her Artist of the Decade award. I thought that the performance was amazeballs. Of course, I would think that. But I'm so glad that she got the man in there, like I said, and she started off her whole collage of songs with that song. So good on her. Thank you, Taylor, for being a positive influence in this world of women still using their sexuality to promote themselves, which I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just saying, in my opinion, there are better ways to promote yourself as a woman than your sexuality. That's all I'm going to say on that. So let's move on to the topic, which, ooh, yeah, that's right. We're talking about Thanksgiving all this week, people. I wanted to know, when it comes to your Thanksgiving dinner, do you enjoy or look forward to most the turkey or the sides? So let me read you some of the responses. And to be honest with you, it came out a little more the sides, which I thought it would be a landslide. I thought it would be a landslide that it would be the sides. And definitely more people picked the sides, but there's a lot more people who said turkey than I expected, to be honest, and a lot of I love it alls. Now, Marcy said she loves the sides, stuffing with gravy and mashed sweet potatoes. Yum. Here's the thing with stuffing. I hated stuffing growing up. My mom used to make the stovetop type, and then when she made Thanksgiving dinner, she used to stuff the bird with it. So it didn't get real crispy, because that's what I like. I like the crispy, which is ironic now, because that's exactly what stovetop is. It's just, basically breadcrumbs in the oven. And that's what I do like. I had seen a recipe for cornbread sausage stuffing. We're going to have to try that next year. I don't know. We were home by ourselves last year and just made our own dinner, and I don't know why didn't we do that, Joe? Sounds amazing. Because when I brought that up to me, he's like, "You've never heard of that before?" I'm like, not really. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I've heard of it." I'm like, then why haven't we had it? Why have we not had it? Elizabeth says the sides. Michelle says, I love it all. Laurie says, oh, the sides for sure. Jay says, sides. I don't even like turkey. Jody says the sides. I don't really like the taste of turkey, but mixed in with all the sides, I'll eat it. Michelle says all of it. I like everything. Linda says all the sides. Joe says love it all. If the turkey is dry, there's always gravy. Yes, if the turkey is dry, which I find the white meat to almost always be dry, I dip it in my mashed potatoes. I like it like that. I like it like that. Okay, Libby says all of it. I like to try new sides. This year, I'm going to do corn casserole just like Joe makes. And I had to correct her because I am the maker of the corn casserole. I found the recipe. In fact, the first time I made it, I believe, was Thanksgiving of last year. So she was like, oops, sorry, Wendy. I love that casserole. Can't wait to make it. It's delicious. My sister's probably going, I don't know. How would I know? Because I tried to make it when we were down the Outer Banks. It did not come out for some reason. Just did not come out right. Tracy says, my favorite part is the mashed potatoes with a side of corn and gravy. And, well, you know my most favorite side. Ha ha. Yes, Tracy's favorite side of all time is a side of Ultra. Eve says sides. Denise says all. Maureen says definitely the sides. Jim says, I love the turkey. It's pretty much the only time of year I eat turkey, but I do love the sides too. Yeah, and he pointed out, I look forward most probably, though, to the turkey and some skin. The skin is so good. And you know what's great? Joe's family, they don't seem to be interested in the skin. So I've spent most of my Thanksgiving with his side of the family since we've been married, and I get to eat the skin every year. Yum. Diane says the sides. Love the mashed potatoes, and my husband makes his own stuffing that everyone loves. So it looks like it's about 75% sides, 25% either turkey or both, all of it. So there you go. So whatever your favorite is that you choose, you can have it. in 3 more days. There you go. Thanksgiving's such the greatest day, isn't it? Like, we have to travel this year and we have to get out of the house pretty early. But it's such a great day when you have nowhere to go. We love watching the Thanksgiving Day Parade in Philadelphia. This is its 100th year this year, so it's a big deal. And, and then I always flip back and forth a little bit between the Macy's Parade and that parade, because Macy's does have some better things. I mean, it's in New York. It's going to have some better things. But the parade's pretty interesting in Philadelphia, too. And then you just kind of sit back and relax, maybe take a little nap. Then, you start getting prepared for dinner. Then football comes on. Half hour early, too. You don't even have to wait till 1 o'clock. It comes on at 12:30. Love football. Love watching football. So we have to get out the door pretty early, like I said. So I'm sorry I'm taking up so much of your time today. But I have to say, pretty entertaining. I'm worth it. I'm worth it. So on to the blog post. I am going to be talking about the holidays and family dynamics all this week, because sometimes the holidays fill some of you with joy, while others may feel a sense of dread. Sometimes the family dynamics can make gatherings a little volatile. So if you are one of those people who are made to feel a less than when around certain family members, remember this: be you always. If you like who you are, then nobody else's opinion matters. Yes, of course you want to be liked. Even more, you want to be accepted. But if that isn't the case, be happy with who you are and try to let others' opinions and comments on your life roll off your back. I know. Easier said than done. But here's what I want you to do. Pick a picture of yourself that you love. Make it a favorite in your photos or re-download it to keep it in the forefront. Every time someone is making you feel bad about yourself, look at that picture as a reminder that you like you, that you are happy with you, that you are who you are, and that is good with you. Now, I picked a picture of me with Dave Hollis from my recent Rise Business Conference. He is the husband of Ms. Rachel Hollis, and is a big part of the company they have together. Now, he was the MC of the whole conference. He also had a speaking portion about his new book that is coming out. He is a celebrity for sure in my world, and I really wanted this picture. I have talked about before how I basically hunted him down like a stalker to get this picture. He was in the crowd taking selfies, and he was one section over from where I was sitting, of course. So when I saw him leave that section, I walked down to the concourse, caught up with him as he went into another section, skipped right over mine, by the way. Yes, again, of course. And I was first in line when he started taking selfies again. So I got my shot. Am I proud of my stalker ways? Not necessarily, but I'm not ashamed of them either. And I was so excited to get the pic that I think it showed in the picture how excited I was. And now it is one of my all-time favorites. I just love this picture because I'm just so happy, and it's a good picture of him. And, it was just a cool moment. So find a picture that reminds you of all you are and all you want to continue to be, and keep that at the ready. When it comes to my own Thanksgiving celebration, we will be spending it at my sister-in-law's house. It's always a little uncomfortable for me to spend time with my husband's family, though they've never said it. I feel like some members of the family don't really like me, and it's really not even that they don't like me. I think it's more about my voice they hear in their brothers now when it comes to decisions having to do with the family. My husband's always just gone along with whatever the family wanted in the past, and now I point out to him that isn't always the best interest to our family. So I think they may be a little resentful of that. I could be wrong. Nothing is ever brought up in front of me, but it's always in the back of my mind. It's another interesting disparity between the difference between men and women. I feel like if my sister-in-law said, well, I have to check with my husband first, everybody would be like, okay, well, yeah, of course. It affects your family too. You've got to check with your husband. But when I am the one that's saying, wait a minute, it's like, who does she think she is? This is Joe's decision. It's his family. But I think that things would be handled differently if it were